Let's pull back the curtain on what might be the most powerful, most secretive, and yeah, the wealthiest dynasty on the entire planet. We're talking about a family of 15,000 princes and princesses, all connected by blood, oil, and an iron grip on power. The House of Saud.
So just how rich are we talking? Well, the family's estimated net worth is a mind-blowing $1.4 trillion. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire economy of Switzerland. It's a number so huge, it almost doesn't feel real. So what do you even do with that kind of cash? Well, in 2017, the family's de facto ruler, Mohammed bin Salman, you probably know him as MBS, bought the most expensive painting ever sold. It was Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, and it cost him 450 million bucks. And then, poof, it just disappeared. No one has seen it in public since. Who knows? Maybe it's hanging in his French palace, the Chateau Louis XIV. He bought that for over 275 million euros. And get this, it's not some ancient castle. It was built recently to look just like Versailles. We're talking 7,000 square meters of pure luxury right outside Paris.
Or maybe the Da Vinci is tucked away on his $500 million super yacht, the Serene. That's one of the big rumors anyway. It just goes to show you, at this level of wealth, you don't just own things, you own mysteries.
But hold on, where did all this money come from in the first place? Well, the story traces back to a single, secret handshake that would completely reshape the world as we know it. Okay, so the pivotal moment was 1945. They'd found a massive oil field 7 years earlier. The Saudi king meets with President Roosevelt on a U.S. warship. The deal they struck was incredibly simple. America gets exclusive access to all that oil. In return, the Saudi royal family gets the full military protection of the United States. Fast forward to 1980, the kingdom takes full control of its oil company, creating the monster we now know as Aramco. And that's when the money started flowing like, well, oil. For decades, power within the family was kind of shared. It was spread out among different branches to keep things stable. But then came one prince, the favorite son of the new king who was about to tear up 60 years of tradition and take it all for himself. So you see, unlike his cousins who were off studying at Harvard or Oxford, MBS stayed home. He was educated entirely in Riyadh, which was a very strategic move to build his power base from the inside. He quickly became his father's shadow, his right-hand man, and, according to diplomatic cables, he got his hands on the ultimate weapon, control of confidential files on the entire family. Think about that. Dossiers detailing every secret, every mistake, every single weakness of all 15,000 royals. The second his father took the throne, MBS moved lightning. At just 29, boom, he's in charge of the military. Then, boom, he takes over the economy. In 2017, he calls his own cousin, who was next in line for the throne, to the palace in the middle of the night and basically forces him to step aside. With all his major rivals out of the way, he was ready for his final and most shocking move. It's now known as the Ritz-Carlton Purge. Over 200 of the most powerful people in the country, including some of the richest men in the world, were rounded up and held prisoner inside a luxury hotel. The official story, it was an anti-corruption crackdown. But to many people watching from the outside, it looked a whole lot like a ruthless, old-school power grab. I mean, just listen to this. Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, a famous international investor, was held for 83 days. Right after he gets out, he gives this bizarre TV interview claiming his relationship with MBS, the man who just locked him up, was now stronger than ever before. It's just surreal. It turns out freedom came with a hefty price tag. The Saudi government later announced it had recovered over $100 billion from these detainees through settlements, cash, property, stocks. And just like that, with one final move, MBS had it all the power, and all the money. So what on earth do you do when you have that kind of absolute authority? Well, you launch a plan to completely remake your entire country. It's called Vision 2030, and it's a super ambitious blueprint for a future Saudi Arabia that isn't just about oil. But let's be real, for now, oil is everything. In just 1 year, the state oil company Aramco brought in $106 billion in profit. That's almost as much as all the companies on the entire French stock market combined. It's this absolute cash machine that's funding this entire vision for a new kingdom. And that vision really comes down to 3 big things. First, you've got these major social reforms aimed at the country's huge youth population. stuff like letting women drive and opening movie theaters again. Second, a huge push to diversify the economy, using their nearly $1 trillion investment fund to buy stakes in companies all over the world. And third, a massive effort to rebrand the country by pouring billions into sports, a strategy that a lot of critics have labeled sports washing.
The crown jewel of this whole vision is NEOM. It's this $500 billion futuristic megacity being built in the desert. The main attraction is The Line, a planned 170-kilometer-long skyscraper city encased in mirrors. But reports are starting to suggest that the grand vision is hitting some real-world hurdles. The initial construction target has apparently been scaled way back to just 2.4 kilometers, and the population goals have been slashed.
Look, this kind of radical, top-down change doesn't happen without a cost. And while MBS has been praised by some as a visionary reformer, his time in power has also been marked by one international crisis after another.
It's been a turbulent period. In 2015, MBS launched a war in Yemen that the UN has called a humanitarian catastrophe. In 2017, the Prime Minister of Lebanon was allegedly detained in Riyadh and forced to resign on TV. And then, in 2018, came the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. A declassified U.S. intelligence report later concluded that MBS himself approved the operation, a claim the Saudi government has always and forcefully denied. So here we are. The House of Saud is sitting on an ocean of oil and $1 trillion fortune, and it's all controlled by one man with a futuristic vision and an iron will. It leaves you with this one giant question. Can one man's grand plan really transform a kingdom built on oil? Or will the price of absolute power turn out to be way too high?